Ghost Hunting in New England,
your favorite spooky podcast. Hey everyone, happy Wednesday and welcome to Ghost Hunting in New England with your host Amelia.
and Beth.
And today we are doing something very, very fun. We have noticed from looking at the numbers that you guys really like hearing ghost stories.
Yeah, I think that's why we're in a ghost hunting podcast.
I know, but I would have thought our ghost hunts would be the big thing.
Well, we haven't done one of those in a while. We'll have to do another one soon.
We did. We're signed up for one later this month.
We are.
Yeah, with Boston Paranormal Investigators. We have some stuff coming up. We have some other ghost hunts on the horizon, but we've decided to stop announcing things until they're really happening because sometimes they don't happen. So yeah, everyone seemed to really like our ghost stories from Rhode Island. So we said, what the heck? Where better to vacation in New England in summertime than my favorite New England state outside of Massachusetts, obviously, Vermont. So tonight is ghost stories from Vermont.
Excellent. Instead of trying to do too many of them for Vermont, we just really kind of focused in on 3 fairly large and well-known places.
Yeah, because we already did Emily's Bridge on another episode, and that's like the most haunted bridge. That's like a known haunted bridge, and we can't redo it.
I thought that was in Massachusetts.
No.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Okay.
Go back and be like Beth and go back and listen to our podcast again. Emily's Bridge is up in Stowe, Vermont, and it's the one we did on the Lady in White episode.
Oh, okay.
About Emily.
I thought that was the one where Normal Mike went out and did his drive-by from last week.
No.
Which, by the way, was hilarious.
It was awesome. Please go back and listen to our last podcast, Listener Ghost Stories. What? No, Drive-By Ghostings. What do we call them?
I think we call them drive-by ghostings.
We call them drive-by ghostings. That's what we're doing. We're also so excited. So some things might not make sense. We've been kind of like in vacation mode a little bit.
I'm in vacation mode like 100%. There's no little bit going on here.
Well, I'm not at all. So that's why we're meeting it a little bit. So we've been off kind of a weird recording schedule, which is why sometimes it's like 2 episodes before we reference things people say to us about other episodes. But now we're back.
I suppose so. Until next week when I depart North America.
Yeah, Beth is the vacation queen.
Hey, it's summertime and I'm a teacher. What do you want?
I want a vacation.
I have to pay really high airfares whenever I go anywhere because everyone's on vacation.
What, are you trying to brag?
No,
next?
I'm trying to
say you
say
have really
like
good health insurance. Like, what is this?
Actually, I do. Yeah.
Should we get into it?
I think we should.
Okay. Not only are we focusing on Vermont stories, but you know what? Summer's almost over and we're thinking about going back to school again.
Yes. It's not almost over. It's August 1st. Halfway.
Happy 3-month anniversary to our podcast.
It's been 3 months since our podcast started.
Yes.
That's very, very exciting. 3 months.
3 months. It's pretty exciting stuff.
And I'm really excited about our Instagram followers, but Amelia tells me that I can't talk about it because she says it's not enough followers to talk about. But
I just said it's not that impressive.
Well, I think that 600 followers is pretty impressive.
Oh my goodness.
She's going to edit this out anyway. Thanks to our 600 followers.
Thank you.
I love you guys.
Thank you so much, everyone who's following us. And if you're not following us on Instagram, please do. So that way we actually will have something to brag about.
I didn't want to brag about it. I just wanted to say, this is really exciting. Back when we were getting to, number 100, my friend Bonnie is actually our follower number 100 because
God bless her.
I had put it out there, who's going to be number 100? And I was sending Amelia screenshots of the Instagram, every single day, multiple times. Hey, we made it to 80. Hey, we're at 94.
She did. That's very true. Now we're at 600.
I know. I'm old and geeky, and I thought it was very cool.
I think it's fabulous. Go us. Go ghost hunting in New England.
She told me not to talk about it, but I talked about it anyway.
Talked about it to nauseam. All right, time to get into our stories. Our first story is about the Vermont Police Academy. Ba-da-da. Vermont Police Academy was formerly a state hospital for tuberculosis patients. At one point, tuberculosis was thought to be vampirism, but turned out that wasn't what it was.
It was thought to be vampirism?
Yeah.
Well, they used to call it consumption, but I didn't think they called it vampirism.
I think that prior to consumption, they just thought people were being vampires.
Did they, come back to life?
I didn't ask.
Huh. I'll have to look into that further.
In the 18th and early 19th century, sanitariums were constructed across the country not only to attempt to cure all those who were suffering from the illness, but to remove them from the rest of society. The Calvary Sanitarium was deeded to the state of Vermont in 1921 and would remain active till 1967, when advances in medicine led to a significant decline in the number of patients who required treatment and the state cutting off the funding. Okay, that's enough history. Now onto the ghost. One of the houses on the property has actually been turned into a Halloween haunted house. It's kind of a cool sense of humor because this house is haunted AF.
Really?
Yes.
Where in Vermont is the police academy located? Like what town?
Pittsfield.
Pittsfield.
Yeah.
Perhaps in October, instead of going to the mobbed Salem, we will drive the extra hour and a half, 2 hours to Pittsfield.
I will be doing both.
And we can drive around and ogle all the cadets.
There's nothing I like more than ogling a man in uniform. All right. Stories of feeling watched in certain parts of the house have been reported, some rooms stronger than others, including a few rooms upstairs. Untraceable sounds, mysterious lights, and phantom odors have been reported. A town firefighter who worked in the haunted house shared some of his knowledge and his own experiences with a local reporter. He recalled hearing stories of seeing people and kids on the second floor and hearing the disembodied sounds of kids crying in the house. He also reported hearing sightings of what he described was a nurse dressed in a dated uniform, seen walking up and down the stairs, and reported that he has experienced unexplainable cold spots in certain areas of the house and personally heard phantom footsteps in rooms when he was the only one present. The firefighter also went on to tell reporters about strange experiences the volunteers who set up the haunted house have witnessed. Every year, light bulbs around the house inexplicably burst in their fixtures. Props and personal items get moved or lost entirely. There is a room in the house where other employees say they've had costumes thrown at them by unforeseen forces. The most famous ghost on the property is that of Nurse Mary. Although I would like to do a little note that in my research of this, sometimes she's called Nurse Amy, which I'm assuming, I don't know. I'm assuming someone misheard Mary and just wrote Amy.
I would agree, because Amy is a more recent name in the English lexicon.
Yes. She is said to be a nurse of the tuberculosis hospital who unfortunately contracted the disease and quickly went from employee to patient. Her apparition has been seen around. As we just heard the firefighter saying sometimes he sees the nurse walking up and down the steps. At the police academy, some of the original call buttons for the patients at the TB hospital can still be found in some of the rooms on campus. It is said that if you accidentally, or I guess
on purpose,
whatever, if you hit the button, Nurse Mary may pay you a visit. She's said to be a very friendly ghost and sometimes can be felt standing close to cadets or pulling blankets up over them late at night. What do you think?
Is Nurse Mary also at my friend Ricky's house, pulling up blankets in the middle of the night to keep her warm?
Right, from our last episode. That's true. We had another ghost doing that over there. Now, what I didn't know is I didn't think at police academies they stayed overnight.
Didn't you see the movie?
No. I don't watch a lot of movies.
My entire understanding of Police Academy is from the series of Police Academy movies. But one of the things that definitely happens is it's like boot camp.
Okay.
For the military, where they all go there and they all have to wear like the ugly little uniforms, like sweatpants, and they run and they do push-ups and then they sleep in the barracks at night. So instead of being like barracks like you think of for like Army or Marine recruits, they'd probably be staying in the old patients' rooms, which is why they would have access to those old call buttons.
Yeah, that makes sense. You know what I think the problem is that we live in Massachusetts, so I don't know if they stay overnight here.
They do.
Because it's pretty... I don't know about that.
I'm pretty sure they do. I actually, a long time ago, took the civil service state trooper exam with the understanding that if I got in, I would have to go somewhere out in Western Mass and stay there for, I believe it was a couple of months. And I'd be able to call my husband on the weekends.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think that anybody who goes to police academy gets to go home at 5 o'clock. Can somebody who's been through police training in Massachusetts send us an email, ghosthuntinginNewEngland@gmail.com, and set us straight on this?
Yeah, we have no idea.
Is it an overnight thing? Is it a sleepaway camp? Do you go Monday through Friday?
I wouldn't call it a sleepaway camp. Oh my goodness. We're going to get in trouble.
Why?
I'm scared of cops.
Why?
I don't know. I don't do anything illegal.
I was going to say, what are you doing wrong that you're afraid of them?
Nothing. And that's the thing. So At my old coffee shop, there was a police officer who used to come in all the time, and we were very friendly, and we're still very friendly to this day. So we'd come in sometime and order sandwiches or whatever. And sometimes he would like come on duty with the squad car, and he'd like walk in and be like, "Oh, it's just you. Like, I got really nervous. Like, the police showed up." And he was like, "Why, are you doing something illegal?" And I was like, "No." But we really weren't. I just get nervous.
I hope you don't get pulled over a lot then.
Not anymore. I used to. Maybe that's where it came from.
Our next haunted institution is near and dear to my heart. It's Norwich University in Northfield, Vermont. And my oldest son, Michael, actually went there. He's a graduate of 2015, and he was in the Corps of Cadets. So he went through being a rook and having to do like pseudo basic training as a freshman, in addition to all of his classes in college. So that was very exciting for me as his mom, and I'm sure very terrifying and exhausting for him as a little 18-year-old kid. So
go Mike.
Yeah, go Mike. You did it. You graduated, and now you get that great job, and we're all so proud of you.
We're so proud of you, Mike.
So
Please start listening to our podcast.
So Norwich University was built in 1819. They're going to celebrate their 200th anniversary this year. And if you haven't been there, it's about 5, maybe 10 minutes south of Montpelier in Vermont. When you arrive at the campus, it's an interesting layout that they refer to it as the campus on the hill, or the school on the hill. So it's all stairs. Everywhere you go, it's up flights of stairs, down flights of stairs. They have like an upper promenade, and it's ringed by the main dorms. There was an original set of them that were built back around 1900, and those have all been systematically replaced over the years, built with buildings that have been put up since the 60s.
Okay.
I'm sorry, was that terribly boring?
It was a little boring. It's all right.
Let's get to the interesting stuff. Well, in order to understand the stories, you have to kind of have a mental picture of what it looks like. My God, she's rolling her eyes. You wouldn't believe the eye roll I just got.
All right.
So, really quick, the librarians say that their most requested topic at the school is the idea of the ghosts and is it haunted. And it has been so established as a haunted institution that John Zaffis from the Paranormal Research Society of New England visited not once, but twice. Once in 2003, and then again in 2006. And so all those buildings up on the top around the upper promenade, they all have different names, I think like most dormitories and colleges do. But he specifically found that there were spirits present in Dewey Hall, Ransom Hall, Hawkins Hall, the Goodyear Hall, and Alumni Hall. And so if you haven't heard of John Zaffis or the Paranormal Research Society of New England, I bet you have heard of his slightly more famous uncle, Ed Warren.
Nice.
So he definitely comes from a good breeding when it comes to paranormal.
Spooky family.
Yeah. So that was very interesting to see. A couple of stories that come from Norwich. The first is about Alumni Hall, which is the oldest building on the campus at this point. It was built in 1905, and the story here is about a bricked-off room. The way the story goes is that there was a boy who was in the Corps of Cadets, and he got this room in the basement of the alumni building, and that's where he stayed. And he hung himself in that room.
That's awful.
It really is pretty awful. And the next year, his younger brother comes to the school, is also a rook, and is somehow put in that exact same room. And he also hung himself.
That's so terrible.
In that room.
God.
Like, could you even imagine being that family?
Oh my God, no. I don't want to think about it.
Right.
No, that's awful.
It just kind of becomes like this tale that, people have heard, but nobody really pays too much attention to.
What year was this?
I could not find any information about what years this happened.
Okay.
But we'll kind of circle back to that sort of idea with Norwich. So several years later, there's another cadet who ends up having a really rough year, and he's in that same room, and his fellow cadets walk in on him preparing to hang himself. And they're like, dude, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing this? And he said, the people in the mirror told me to do it.
Oh my gosh.
So according to this cadet,
that's so heartbreaking.
The cadets before him, the rooks before him, whoever it was, were one by one manifesting themselves in the mirror and asking him to join them. So that's a little upsetting. And in fact, it was so upsetting to the administrators at Norwich that they bricked off that room.
Good.
It is sealed off. But so it's this open space underneath Alumni Hall. And people will swear that they can hear voices in there, that they hear furniture being dragged around in there, that like there's something going on. But it's been bricked off for years and years.
That's incredible.
So pretty much every Norwich cadet or student, because they also have the non-military section now as well, knows of that story. So there have been over the years a lot of cadet deaths that have actually been documented. Back in the day when hazing was still a thing, the rooks were routinely initiated by the upperclassmen. They would wear face masks and they would walk around with those paddles. Have you seen Dazed and Confused?
I don't want to say.
For those of you who haven't seen Dazed and Confused, at the beginning